Welcome to Insights in Sound, where we talk to the people behind the scenes, behind the technology, and behind the music. People you may not know, but you should. And please check out insightsinsound.com for a full list of our podcasts and YouTube series. And big thanks to our sponsors, Mackie, Roland, Mojave Audio, Ozbot.
I'm here with Robert Scovill at the Sphere in Las Vegas. What can we say about this place that hasn't already been said?
I mean, it's kind of its own unique thing here. I mean, this is unlike anything that exists in the world today, really. I think it's 48 speaker systems throughout the place and very high transducer counts in those systems. So yeah, it's unique from that aspect. And then on top of it, you're doing object mixing here as opposed to bus mixing. And if that wasn't enough, you're mixing in, as I've been talking about, you're mixing in concave now as opposed to convex. It's a lot to think about. We started working on this in January and then got into the simulator kind of mid-May, which they built here for us in Vegas to be able to get in and do some work, because the schedule is so compressed here, you have very little time once you get in the building to actually work on what you're doing. Even with all of that time, I still find myself modifying things, readjusting busing, readjusting things. You're just learning it kind of on the fly as you go. Hopefully you don't make too many big mistakes in the beginning and you can survive all those.
I mean, you've got such a challenge here in terms of just the shape of the room to begin with.
The shape of the room, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, I actually think, this is my own hypothesis here, I actually think you're better off mixing in concave in a round room like this than you are trying to put in convex into a round shape. It's like when we've gone into domes and stuff and tried to do that with a regular PA, it's challenging, man. I mean, you can create some echo structure in those places that's kind of mind-blowing. Here, you don't really have that. It's not super echoey in here, which is kind of weird. And the low frequency impact of it is actually very well behaved. I mean, it's the low end in here, which is typically a problem in a dome. I don't seem to have that problem here,
If anything, I would guess you have more of a high-end issue here.
You can have it, and I think that's the result of a couple of things here. I mean, none the least of which the propagation distances that we're dealing with here. I mean, we have these long distances that any PA system is going to be challenged to throw, and then on top of it, you're in a desert atmosphere, where it's very low humidity. Mm-hmm. You're a couple of inches of mercury above sea level here, so it all kind of adds up, and it can make for a very challenging environment. It's a dynamic environment, I'll say that, where you get something that it sits in and you feel pretty good about it, and then get 18,000 people in here huffing and puffing, and you watch the humidity go up about 10, 12 points, and all of a sudden you're on a different PA system. It's like, whoa.
What is the system here?
So this is holoplot. It's all beamforming PA. And gosh, don't ask me how many transducers are in here. I mean, it's 100,000, and it's crazy amount of transducers within the cabinetry here. And it's all kind of based on the beamforming, where they cover, take one set of PA, cover the entire room with it, the next set, cover the entire room with it, et cetera. So, you are truly mixing in really an immersive environment there, a spatialized immersive.
You obviously have to create your own ambience in that sense. I mean, you're playing with the reflections, you're mapping stuff out to wherever it's supposed to be, right?
Well, in terms of pure sources, and where it gets kind of strange, and we're still as an industry very much in development in terms of how we're going to handle spaces like this, especially when we're talking about, 48 speaker choices here. There's no 48.1 busing on any consoles. You're going to basically set up, those pathways and just be able to address them. In the situation, where you're routing to all these different places, you have to be careful with it, right? And you have to be really disciplined with it. You're not really going to route to more than one place at a time. So in that aspect, it's really object-based. And if you're going to create any kind of backward Z-axis on it, you kind of have to do that reverberantly. Like you have to do your own reverb to do that. You can move anything forward in the Z, no question about it. I mean, put anything up or out into the audience. But if I want to take objects in my mix and move them back and create some space for it, obviously I have to do that in the console. I have to do that with reverb processing.
Right.
And a lot of the reverb processing that we have set up available to us today, one, I can't really bus to it properly in terms of surround. I don't have multi-channel output from the console to get into a multi-channel reverb.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, when I bring it back, maybe it's 5.1, 7.1, 9.1 reverb, then where do I place it in the space? Am I making pockets of information like we do in music, or am I treating the whole space with that reverb?
And that's going to be different depending on where you're sitting in the place too.
Of course,
right?
yeah, of course. Yeah. But that's I don't worry as much about that. I think this does a much better job of giving a relative audio performance for a bigger portion of the audience than stereo does in a place this size.
The question I have about that is, because you have so much height to play with, does that give you different leeway in that sense?
Yeah, it does. It almost sounds cliche now, but it's true. You just kind of take stereo and you throw it away. When you come into something like this.
Right.
And now it's not to say that you don't have something wide. You can create an incredibly wide soundscape here. You can also create an incredibly tall soundscape if you want to do it.
That's the question, because how realistic can you stay? Stereo
what's
theory.
realism?
Well, yeah. Well, okay. So the classic definition of stereo used to be that I'm going to hear it as if I'm listening to an orchestra.
Yeah.
Right. We don't go there with this at all, do we?
Well, no. I would say this in terms of being creating that kind of real environment. You could do that here way more effectively than you could with the stereo. Through this kind of soundscape, seat a 60-piece orchestra here and put it where they're
put it where you want, right?
That'd be real, The challenge with all of that, as we start to scale up in this object-based, right, this object-based immersive thing, as we start to scale up, we run into some significant walls in the physics of it, right? And it's purely because sound travels slow, right? Sound travels at the speed of sound, unfortunately.
Do we have any idea how big this space? How much distance we're talking?
I think ground to ceiling is almost 300 feet.
Yeah, okay. It's enormous.
It's enormous. It's way bigger than it looks right now, I guarantee you. We're looking at it like we're watching TV, and it's hundreds of feet away.
Right. How many seats, do you know?
18,000.
This is what they called in Spinal Tap the Enormo Dome.
So where I was going with that is that, because of propagation, right, we have to be really careful because it plays into two things. If we're in concave, like sitting here in the center, if I just took the standard approach that we do with stereo, it's like, I'm going to put one guitar player here, one guitar player here. Wow, it sounds fantastic. It's just this enormous thing.
Yeah.
But if I go all the way out on the edges now, because remember, the PA is in the concave, so this guy shows up on time over here, but this guy shows up over here really, really late.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas if we're in convex, right, if we had a convex PA in here, and I put one guitar player over here, they never meet on the other sides.
Interesting.
Right?
But
they do. So you just have to be, like I spend a lot of times when I'm assigning and getting things in, it's like, okay, let's go check this on the edges and make sure everybody sounds like they're playing in the same band. And the thing I've really fallen in love with immediately is that, unlike in stereo where we're doing bus mixing, and we have all the instruments coming out of the speakers at all times, right? We're always worried about frequency masking, dynamic range, trying to create some depth to create separation on instrumentation, especially in a dense mix. It's hard to create separation.
Yeah.
That's dead on easy here. You're sacrificing a little bit of impulse there that we don't have in stereo because not everything's arriving at the same time, believe it or not. Right?
Well, one would think, yeah.
Right. Well, it's not. That's the truth of it.
Yeah, it's covering like a tenth of a mile here.
Yeah. Well, but given that instruments are coming out of different parts of the room.
Right, exactly.
Depending on where you are, you won't have the same impulse. But it feels like a good trade-off right now. It was one I was really scared of when I started thinking about doing object mixing at this scale. I thought, man, that's not going to do the impulse of the music, if we start breaking stuff apart into a wide soundscape. But it's actually pretty good. This is my own theory that I have going with this. Like, once you see that coupled up with iMag and video, especially iMag of the players up on the screen, when they're broken apart into the room, all of a sudden your brain just kind of goes, that's okay, I hear and see everything right now. It's good. It sounds good. Whereas if you're just listening, you might kind of go, I don't know.
So how does this differ from, let's say, Atmos?
More channels, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, it's 48 speaker systems in play to be able to go anywhere you want to go.
Yikes.
So it's not like 5.1 or 7.1.
Right. It's 48, 40. Wow.
I mean, it's set up to be like the ultimate cinema experience. I mean, some of the cinema stuff I've heard in here is just absolutely mind-blowingly great.
So how long did it take you to get your head around this? I mean, months?
I'm still working on it, right? Still working on it. There is still, when you kind of saw it when I came in today, there were some routing things that I was doing that seemed so obvious in hindsight that I woke up, kind of in the middle of the night the other night thinking, right, that's why that's happening. Okay, right. Hey, Fish, this is what we did. I need to do it. I need to pull Dante from a different place there, not where we're pulling it,
It's reassuring to know that even after doing this for a long time, you still go through that,
100%.
So what's your biggest challenge with this gig as opposed to, the more standard stuff you've been doing with this band?
Well, I mean, honestly, I just think keeping the tonality of the PA normalized, given the different humidity settings in here. I'm sure my tour mates, etc., are just sick to death of hearing me talk about it. Oh, it was 42% tonight. It was just perfect, that kind of thing.
What are you, freaking with me?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Mr. Wizard,
Right.
But that really is the whole game, because it affects gain before feedback. It affects the transition of top end from the near field down on the floor and the first balcony all the way to back, so
especially the back.
The back.
Yeah.
And, it's just one of those things, because everything is in that field. If it's really low humidity, kind of like it's going to be tonight, it's very easy to get it really sizzling down front and not have it make it to the back of the room. One of the luxuries of being here and doing lots and lots of shows is that you hear the same room under different circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've noticed it without question, like as the humidity gets up to about 30%, the back half of the room in terms of echo and reverb just comes alive. It's like, here comes the room, because the audio's making it back there. That's been kind of a fascinating journey for me here, to kind of actually have the time here and then go back and dig in and do some studying on it. And, look up some things, do a little bit of research and go, yeah, absolutely, that's what's happening.
It's a sum total of stuff you've done before, like mixing at a waterfront and stuff like that. It's all these different little things.
Well, I can relate it to, I'll give you this little story, because this was probably the first time that it set this in motion for me, where I thought, damn, I need to pay attention to this. So I was on Rush, and Alex and I were golfing. We were out at Olympic Club in San Francisco golfing, right? And this, absolute dense fog rolled in on the course. And they, the horn goes off and they ask everybody to stop in position, because you can't see
anything anyway.
20 feet in front of you, minutes ago we were looking at a par 3 and then everybody's down there and then we can't see. So we're sitting there, and both of us picked up on it at the same time. It was like, all of a sudden it was like somebody was standing right here talking to us. And it was the guys that were 150 yards away down on the green talking. But that fog, that fog carried it right up to us.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. We both stood there just kind of going, wow, man. That is some school right there. The next day, we are at Shoreline doing the show.
Oh, that's a venue to have, man. Yeah.
Dry as hell during the day. Just so dry during the day. and
And
rained
fog came
late
in.
in the afternoon.
Ooh.
And it was just like, okay, that's not the PA we sound checked on. And I know why right now, you know?
Wow.
I mean, it just kind of glued together all these elements for it, you know?
Yeah.
And I never forgot it. And I remember started thinking things, but that's why sonar looks so good.
What an audience!
But we'd run into it before, doing festival shows and stuff, where you do it at altitude, where, barometric pressure goes way down, where there's way less air molecules
Yeah.
to drag sound along. And it actually sounds like sound slows down when you're at line of one. So you get altitude and dryness. Now you stop trying to push the PA through a wall.
That means just like us, my band, my crew, and my road family, just like us, all of you.
No, I'm thinking back to, we were talking earlier about the Beatles love setup, which is
Yeah.
ancient history in terms of immersive, right? But I remember that one of the things they had there that fascinated me was they put speakers in the seat backs so that they could localize certain components.
Yeah, they have it here. I'm using it on a few places.
Really?
Show. Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, some of
Okay.
you can call it haptics or infrasound, whatever you want.
Right.
Yeah,
They've got that here.
special effects things that happen during the show that are in the seats. A couple of drum things that happen in the seats from time to time. So yes.
Man, you get to really play with a full box of crayons.
You do. 100%. Like one of the things we played with, and I know for certain I'm going to do this, use this kind of lever next time I'm in here, is, kind of given the concept of the PA, I thought, I bet, like being able to localize drums would be really easy here, like, because I have the drums kit set up in the center of the PA, just the first one would have it.
Yeah.
But the drummer is actually offset stage left. Like he's off to the side.
Yeah, but that'd be weird, wouldn't it?
Well, here's the thing. You might think that. So I've got some presets and everything I can show it to you. Drums and bass center, drums and bass local. And harmony, is on that side and keyboards on that side. So it's actually put it all together. So I have it set up where if I want to put the drums and the bass in their position, I just touch that button and they go there. If I want to put them back in the center, and just touch the other button. So I had enough time to play around with it when we first got in here. And the thing that was really, really cool was like down in the floor and in the first people under the balcony and the first balcony, like it completely played that. Like it was like, wow, man. I mean, I'm like watching the drum kit and it looks and sounds like the drums are coming right from the drum kit. And, there's no bass rig on stage or anything, but it's like I'm watching and hearing harmony over my bass. It was startling how good it worked. Now, it started to drift away a little bit as you got away, up in the building. It didn't have the same sort of localized impact. I was positively amazed at how good that worked, especially like having localized bass guitar. Like, and I'm talking full frequency, like bass and low end just kind of went like this.
Really?
And moved over there. I was like, okay, there's something really, really right about this.
So you're using the same the same bass setup for her that you use everywhere else, right?
Exactly.
You got 8 bit blocks. Yeah.
And that whole thing has served us really well here. I mean, I think it was one of our secret weapons coming in here.
I would bet. Yeah.
Well, is that the entire band has been on ears for years.
Right.
And you have to be on ears here. There's just not quite any way of getting out of it. And we've worked on isolated guitar and bass rigs, so they weren't used to having them on stage anyway. It's just a matter of getting them out. So that part of it was really easy for us to transition into this building and this workflow.
It's an amazing venue. It's,
Now, I'm going to be fascinated to see what they do with this as it grows. As the PA starts to develop, they get some better elements of the PA. I mean, I'm sure it's going to improve over time.
Yeah.
And it's set up where they could, in terms of the boxes, I'm sure they could change it out as they get to the next generation. Box and DSPs.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to say the Holoplot guys have been. I got to give them some glowing reviews. So they've been fantastic. It's just been great to deal with. Even kind of the in-house audio guys, Paul Frieden Eric Hockman with Hollow they've just been so open and allowing us to do everything that we want to do. It's just been really, really a great experience.
Satellites watching up in the sky. Well, they're for all the world to know what we do and where we go. Welcome to the fishbowl.
Hey, I'm Daniel Keller. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join us each week for Insights in Sound.